Welcome friends to the Mysterious Shadows YouTube channel. In this video, we are here with real-life school stories. Enjoy listening. Andrea, a high school student, was going to be a university student by the end of that year. But there was only one obstacle. She wanted to study out of town and her parents didn't want to send her out of town. This was the only obstacle between her and the university she had wanted for years and was finally within her grasp. He had to find a way to study at the university he had dreamed of, but how to convince her parents? There was a way, of course, but Andrea hadn't found it yet. She was looking for ways to convince her father, unaware of what would happen to her when she got that permission and went to the university outside the city she wanted. Finally, with the help of her mother, she captured her father's joyful moment on his birthday and gave him the beautiful watch she had bought as a gift, breaking that permission, even if it was difficult. There was no longer any obstacle between her and her dreams. When she passed the exam, she packed her belongings and rented a house close to the university with the help of her father. The neighborhood was full of helpful and kind-hearted people. After a certain amount of time, Andrea, who had gotten used to this cozy little house, thought it was time to party like any other college student and started throwing parties at her house. Everything was going very well, and she was living her dreams exactly as she wanted, until her birthday. Rather than her friends making fun of the news channels that had been buzzing with the serial killer who had been on the streets for a few months, Andrea had become very afraid of this man, because half of his murders took place in her neighborhood. And all of the people who died on her birthday, and all of them were studying at the same university as Andrea. Andrea woke up on the morning of her birthday happy and dreaming of the party she was going to throw in the evening. It was going to be the best party in town, if it went the way she wanted, like the parties of the other students who had died. Everyone came to Andrea's birthday party that evening. All the school teachers, staff, and students were going to have a big and wonderful party, but something caught Andrea's attention. The principal had never been to anyone's party. Andrea thought it would be cool to bring the principal. She had no idea that she had actually turned her birthday into the day of her death. In the evening, people started to arrive. The manager, who had refused to come despite all the insistence and made excuses, was not going to come. Or so Andrea thought. In the middle of my party, Andrea received a phone call, and it was her manager. She wished him a happy birthday and apologized for not coming, as he does with every student who dies. In the following hours, Andrea thought of serial killers and students dying on their birthdays. But she was relieved to think that it was impossible for anything to happen in such a crowd. Around midnight, in the best part of the party, for some unknown reason, a fire broke out in the kitchen. It was probably the carelessness of one of the drunk students. The fire, which was extinguished with the help of the fire brigade, did not affect anywhere else but the kitchen. When everything was over, Andrea, who wanted to enter the house, saw a note on the door and experienced a fear in her mind that she had never experienced in her life. It said Happy Death Day. Thinking it was a stupid joke by one of the drunk and parasitic students, she entered the house. The electricity was out and no lights were on in any room. Thinking there was nothing else to do, he walked to his bedroom and saw another note on his bedroom door. His terror was indescribable. The note said, "Get in the body." Andrea started to descend the stairs slowly, trying to digest the fear she felt. She cursed the day she had convinced her father. When the door to the basement opened and she started to descend, the worst smell she had ever smelled in her life hit her like a slap in the face. The stench was disgusting and damnable and smelled just like a corpse. He looked for the lamp to turn on the basement light, and when he found it, he regretted turning it on. He sat down on the stairs and cried his eyes out to keep from fainting, because what she saw was what she had feared for months. The university students who had been murdered on their birthdays and whose bodies had never been found were hanging from the ceiling, and he was startled awake by a welcoming voice. This voice was not unfamiliar, That's what scared him. It was the voice of the principal she had spent hours trying to convince. Sobbing, she wanted to shout, but the blow to her head knocked her unconscious. When she woke up, she had one around her neck and a chair under her feet. The principal gave Andrea the same speech he gave to every student before he killed her. First of all, thank you so much for choosing our university, sweet Andrea. Without you and students like you, I could not have kept my promise to my master. You are my most precious ones. I love you very much. Happy Death Day. And then he kicked the chair away from under Andrea and watched with great pleasure as she suffocated. Andrea let herself die, knowing that no one could save her and the rope around her neck cutting off her breath. The principal fulfilled the deal he had made with the devil for years, promising one student a year. Months later, the principal's body was found mutilated in the basement of the school. Andrea's parents reported their daughter missing and reluctantly helped the police find the bodies. But when they saw their daughter's body among them, they'd accursed the day they had taken a leave of absence from the city. Before we move on to our second story, don't forget to subscribe to Mysterious Shadows YouTube channel and like the video. Enjoy your listening. Located on the outskirts of Boston, the long-dormant Wilshire High School had been the subject of many rumors among locals. After the school closed, no one but security guards set foot in the building. However, 3 high school students, Mark, Lisa, and Tom, wondered if the rumors were true. One night, they decided to sneak into the school. It was dark. The street lamps illuminated the surroundings with a faint glow. The school door was slightly ajar, as if inviting them in. Mark switched on his flashlight and the 3 friends slipped quietly inside. "I don't think this is such a good idea," Lisa whispered, looking around nervously. "A little courage," said Tom. "We'll just check the place out and get out." As they made their way through the corridors, they passed classrooms covered with years of dust and cobwebs. Old lockers and broken desks reflected the bleakness of abandonment. Suddenly, they heard a faint rattling sound in the background. "What was that?" Mark paused, his voice trembling. Tom laughed and waved his hand. "Probably a mouse. Let's move on." But Lisa was not at all comfortable. "I think we should go back," she insisted. Just then, they noticed a light coming from the basement of the school. They looked at each other and headed for the stairs. The basement was darker and damp than the other floors. When they went down, they saw a large generator room. Inside, on a table were the diaries of a former security guard. Mark picked up one of the notebooks and began to read. "This is very strange," he said. "It's written here about a security guard. A man named John went missing while checking the school." Just then, the door to the generator room slammed shut. The 3 friends were startled. When they ran towards the door, they realized it was locked. As they looked around in panic, a shadow appeared from behind the generator. A tall man with an indistinct face was approaching them. "Who's there?" shouted Tom, his voice shaking. The man approached silently and his face appeared in the dim light. He was dressed in an old security uniform, but his eyes were empty and cold. "This is mine," he said in a deep voice. "This is the place I will protect." The 3 friends hugged each other in terror. The man's eyes were locked on them, and he was closing in step by step. As Mark, Lisa, and Tom looked for a place to escape, they noticed a small window near the generator. They tried to force it open, but the man at the door was getting closer. Finally, they managed to climb out of the window and walked breathlessly away from the school. When they stopped in front of the door and looked back, they saw the man watching them. They hurried away and never went back to that school again. No one ever spoke again about what happened behind the closed doors of Wilshire High School that night. Mark, Lisa, and Tom tried to forget their fear, but the image of the man who met those empty eyes kept flashing before their eyes. And so the legend of the school came true. No one ever dared set foot in that building again. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the channel to be informed about new videos. See you in the next video.